Good morning. It is Wednesday, August the 31st. I am Shane Seeley, and this is a CBC Morning Report. We start with some grim news which occurred yesterday. Some gunplay playing out on the streets of Barbados. 3 separate shooting incidents hours apart, claiming the lives of 2 men and left another man injured. The first one occurred around 6:25 p.m. Several gunshots were reportedly heard in the area of Kings Gap, Eagle Hall, St. Michael, before the victim was discovered lying motionless in the front passenger seat of a vehicle outside of the front door of his home. The deceased has been identified by close family members as Gerard Trismal Jones Cox. Hours later, around 10:06 p.m., the second fatal shooting at Redmond's Gap, Westbury Road, was recorded. Police, upon arrival at the scene, discovered the motionless body of a man. He's yet to be identified. Police are also probing another shooting that occurred around 6:30 at Endeavour near Orange Hills, St. James, that left a 25-year-old man injured. He was shot by another man while standing outside the residence at the said location. Now, he was transported to the QEH in stable condition, and he had undergone surgery as well. We're waiting details on the outcome. Police are asking anyone with information into these shooting incidents to contact the police emergency at 211 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477. That's 1-800-TIPS. ZPay, the world's leading cross-border payments company, has announced a new investment worth $10 million US. That's huge. The injection will support ZPay's bid to augment its fast-growing remittance to wallet business. The CEO of ZPay, Andrew Takei Appiah, arrived in Barbados last night for tomorrow's Afri Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2022, which is being held at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center, and he's with us this morning live on the Morning Report to give us an update on this investment. Andrew, good to have you on the Morning Report.
Good morning again, and thank you for having me here. Very delighted to be in Barbados.
Yes, welcome. First, talk to us about this new level of investment in your company.
Okay, so this investment is actually one part of investments that we went on a round to do. We embarked on a Series A last year, and we did the first close in June last year, and then we did the second close just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's actually a total amount of 30 million, of which we've done a 10 million disbursement. We anticipate to conclude the remaining 20 million before the year is over. The plugins for us is the fact that out of this investment, we'll be able to drive our expansion into the Caribbean deeper. As you know, we moved into the Caribbean, and one of the objectives is to be able to open up the Caribbean market for increased remittances, and also to improve the last mile access for remittances to the local Caribbean citizens, basically. So I see this move as a very positive move towards our entry into your market, and we believe that by the end of the year, you should see a lot of dividends on ground. We have 2 major partnerships already on ground, and we believe that we'll be able to expand.
And the Afri Caribbean Trade Forum is about making those connections financially and otherwise in other sectors with us here in Barbados and across the region. Talk about that, making that connection, and why that is so important for ZPay, and how can it benefit Barbadians.
Thank you very much. I think the Afro-Caribbean Conference is a very necessary one. You've got major players like Afri-Exim Bank, African Development Bank behind this. You've got a lot of African countries supporting this, of course, including Barbados and Mia Motley herself. I think what you're seeing here is the second layer of the bridge, the Caribbean and Barbados to Africa, to open up these markets for inflows of trade and investment. And I think that tomorrow's conference is actually a kickoff of the second layer, which is actually going to start opening out of tomorrow's event. see a lot of money that's coming in. I'm sure other
well, we'll try to clean up that connection with Andrew Teki Appiah. He is the CEO of ZPay, speaking to us live here on the Morning Report. These technical difficulties do happen. I think we have restored that connection with Andrew. Sorry about that, Andrew. You know these things can happen in this new virtual world that we're living in. You were talking about making that connection through this Afri-Caribbean Summit. Also, the connection financially and the growth that can occur with the level of investment that will be pumped into the region and Barbados. Talk about how that could work in both of our favors, Africa and the Caribbean.
Well, what I was saying is that it's been supported by Afri Exim, Africa Development.
Okay, we will try to reconnect with Andrew a little later on the Morning Report. Some critical points being made there by him. He will be a part of the Afri-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2022, which starts tomorrow right here in Barbados. We hope to hear a bit more from him about how it can benefit Barbadians here on the ground, as well as he sets up ZPay here in Barbados. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at some COVID-19 updates and we'll tell you what's happening with the war in Ukraine. There were 3 more deaths reported here in Barbados associated with COVID-19. 2 of them ages 78 and 79. They would have died on Monday, August the 29th, while 2 others, the other person, who was 83 years of age, passed away yesterday. Their deaths have brought the number of casualties from the virus to 542. Meanwhile, there are 148 new cases of COVID-19 being recorded. 60 males and 88 females account for that number, and they were out of 679 tests conducted on Monday. As far as the isolations are concerned, 80 people are in facilities, while 1,378 people are in home isolation. A United Nations chartered ship loaded with Ukrainian wheat destined for millions at risk of starvation in Ethiopia has arrived in Djibouti. The bulk carrier MV Brave Commander, which is carrying 23,000 tons of grain, docked in the Horn of Africa port city yesterday, 2 weeks after leaving a Black Sea port in Ukraine.
The ship was transporting 23,000 tons of grain. It's the first vessel to make the journey to the region since Russia invaded Ukraine 6 months ago. The shipment will be transported to Ethiopia. Experts say it's enough to feed 1.5 million people for a month. The UN says 82 million people need food aid across Eastern Africa because of extreme weather, surging food prices and conflict.
We've already seen a reduction of 15% in wheat prices globally since the Black Sea Initiative commenced. What we want to see is more food flowing We need, from WFP's perspective, millions of tonnes in this region. In Ethiopia alone, 3/4 of everything that we used to distribute originated from Ukraine and Russia.
Meanwhile, a team from the UN nuclear watchdog heading to the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine has met with the Ukrainian leader ahead of their trip to the plant.
This comes before the delegation is to travel to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Fighting near Europe's largest nuclear facility has drawn international concern about a potential disaster. The IAEA team is being given access to inspect the Russian-controlled site. Teresa Bo has more from Kyiv.
Well, the 14-member delegation is already here in Kyiv. It's being led by the director of the IAEA. It's Rafael Grossi, who earlier today met with President Volodymyr Zelensky. There's been lots of concerns about how they're going to be traveling all the way to Zaporizhzhia. It's a long drive. It's about an 8-hour drive. And there's been some accusations from the Ukrainian government saying that shelling was ongoing around the area where the IAEA team should be able to make it all the way to Zaporizhzhia. In that meeting with President Zelensky, he assured them that he was going to try to guarantee all the safety possible during that drive. He also said that he was looking forward that the IAEA team would be able to convince Russia to withdraw from the area, to demilitarize the area in order to guarantee the safety of everyone. You know, there's been lots of concern about what's happening in that plant. The Russian Ministry of Defense has been accusing Ukrainian forces of shelling the area. Some of those shells have come very, very close to where the nuclear fuel is located and even the radioactive waste. On the other side, Ukrainian government is saying that it is the Russians who are doing the attacks from the plant that was taken over by Russia. Overall, the most important thing is to verify the level of damage that has happened to the plant, to see that the Ukrainian technicians that are working there are doing okay, that they're not working under duress, which is what the Ukrainian government is saying, because they're being closely monitored by Russian soldiers, and also that all the safety systems are in place.
Let's come back home now and head over to Pearson to find out what he has for you on the Wednesday edition of Mornin Barbados. Pearson, what are you looking at today?
Well, today you'll get to meet the winner of the inaugural Central Empowerment Centre Calypso competition. Yes, indeed. It was last week. Now we meet the winner today. So the winner and the organizer joins us in just a little while at 6:30. Also, it was last weekend a first for the Lodge School cricket under the lights. The lights were switched on. We get an update as to how it went and what else they're doing to support the physical education department there at the Lodge School. And performance management. That's a big subject we'll be talking when we talk HR with HerbMap. It's a critical area of success of any business today. And so when they join us, we want to get into it and dive in so that you can benefit from the information shared. Those are just a little bit of we'll be sharing with you when you join me at 6:30 for Morning Barbados. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. And speaking about business, we'll rejoin Andrew as he talks about ZPA and its prospects for Barbados and the region and what investment they're looking at here. The details to that story and others coming up right here on the Morning Report. Back with you on the morning report as we reconnect with Andrew Teki Appiah, the CEO of Zipe, to talk about what's happening with the Afri Caribbean Summit being held here in Barbados, and also prospects for the company investing in Barbados and the region, unloading the platform here so that Barbadians can take advantage of it too. Andrew, hopefully we can hear you properly now and the connection is a bit more seamless to get into this discussion. Andrew, you were mentioning your plans for Barbados and the region and how Barbados can benefit through this Afri Caribbean Investment Forum.
Okay, so thank you very much. Actually, I was just studying about the Afri Caribbean Forum and how I see it as the second layer of the effort that Prime Minister Mia Mottley started in 2019, which was basically designed to bridge Africa and the Caribbean together and open it up for investment. I think that what you're seeing tomorrow is a sequel of that major activity or major effort that is designed to boost the trade. Out of tomorrow, you're going to see deepening of innovations from financial services. You're going to see a deepening of trade activities from Africa into Caribbean. But what I also like is the fact that Barbados and other Caribbean countries will follow suit. I hope that your RAM in itself will come into our market apart from other things. Since I fell in love with Barbados, all I take is Banque. So I believe that this is evidential of a lot of great thinking and effort by presidents like Anna Kufuor, Prime Minister Mottley, and all the others who have made this possible. From our perspective, our raise would only just help us expand and deepen our footprint in the region, which has become a critical region for us. What I see happening is frontier markets, which is the Caribbean market, coming together with emerging markets. And I think it's best when two similar like-minded markets come together to play than when markets are too far advanced between each other. So I'm excited, and I look forward to what's going to happen over the next 3 days in Barbados.
Zipe is concerned, how much money are you looking to pump into Barbados and the region? Talk about the level of investment and possible employment opportunities as well.
Well, let's start with investment. I think, first of all, we've already pumped significant amount of money here. Barbados alone, I'm sure we'll be investing close to $1 million in the interim just to be able to kick off and have a good market activity. In terms of the region, it's a bit in early days, but we're looking at multiple markets. We have about 5 additional markets that we're looking to open up. So even if we're doing about $1 million in each market, that's about $5 million already. In terms of employment, I think that the thing about mobile financial services is that when it takes off, it employs a lot of people. Let me just use Ghana as an example. In Ghana alone, the agent network is about 360,000 agents. Okay, and these are all third parties that are able to generate the employment for themselves. So I think that it's significant what we'll be able to do here. As a company, today we have about 180 staff across the world. So I believe that we'll be adding more to the numbers from Barbados and becoming a significant employer in this market as well.
And just
as you and I know, it's a point of time.
Yeah. And just for those Barbadians who are not so familiar with the platform, just explain to them pretty quickly how it works.
So basically, Barbados has about $500 million coming into it in the form of remittances. Today, all these remittances are coming as, I like to call it analog, or they come very, very basic. You get a cash pickup token, you go to an agency and you pick it up. What we do is we make it possible for you to receive it directly on your phone. It sits in your phone wallet and you can withdraw it as and when you want to withdraw it. So we digitalize the process and therefore making it easier. Then what we also do is improve the distribution points so that you're able to access cash from over 100 to 1,000 distribution points. If we are successful in the first phase, then that's exactly what you want. The second phase is then making it possible for you to do peer-to-peer transfers from one person to the second or third or fourth person, for you to make payments into bank accounts, retail payments using wallets, which is cheaper than cards.
makes business transactions a whole lot more easier and improves the opportunities for a cashless system, which Barbados is driving to. Andrew, it has been great talking to you. I'm pretty sure we'll be talking to you several times in the next few days, weeks, and months ahead as you set up the platform here. We look forward to it. And enjoy the conference, enjoy the forum, and enjoy your time here in Barbados. Be safe until the next time we speak.
Thank you so much. Thank you
so much for your time this morning. Andrew Teki Appiah, he's the CEO of ZPay, and he is ready for the Afri Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2022 being held at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center right here in beautiful Barbados. In other news this morning, as Barbados prepares for the business end of the hurricane season, an effort is on to improve communication right across the country to avoid a repeat of what happened during Hurricane Elsa. During that storm, communication was down in several areas, and the Barbados Light and Power Company was unable to respond in a timely manner. This time around, they've invested in a number of VHF hand radios, which have been handed over to the Department of Emergency Management to be used by the disaster emergency officers on the ground. The VHF systems are more reliable and will ensure DEOs can communicate with the BLPC and their teams out in the field, as well as other emergency officials in the event of an impact by a weather system. Johan Graves is the Director of Operations at BLPC. He explains this is a necessary step to ensure that communication is secured at all levels.
What we can assure you is that we have prepared all of our systems and have our systems in a state of readiness that we can respond to any eventuality that comes to us. Our hope obviously will be able to improve based on what would have happened last year. We've done reviews of what would have occurred, look at the shortcomings, put different systems in place. And what we saw here today demonstrated here was one of the things that we came up with, things that we could have put in place. So we've actually added another communication channel so that we can receive information faster. But to say definitively that next time it could be shorter, we don't know, because we don't know what the nature of that event would be.
Meanwhile, Selwyn Brooks explains how the DEO's response will be improved after some of the lessons learned during Hurricane Elsa.
There was deficiencies in the system where we could not have communicated with persons because we did not have that level of equipment that we can transmit. If we are now going into the peak of this year's hurricane season, and if something happens, we have been able to improve on that with the donation of the radios. The donation of the radios and the training that the DOs would have received over the last year has significantly improved our connectivity and our communication, not only between the DEM and the DOs, but between the DOs themselves as they traverse their respective communities. So the donation came at the opportune time, and we have jumped on board to make sure that we have effective use by training, putting systems in place where they will be maintained, and having that level of partnership and bringing persons together to benefit from the use of these radios. If we were impacted and we did not have these radios, I think that would be a deficit. But I'm glad to say with Light and Power donation, we have been able to at least close that gap. The gap is not totally closed, but it's far better than it was before.
Sporting news now. The 2022 Hero Caribbean Premier League gets going today at Warner Park, St. Kitts. Defending champions and host St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots will battle the Jamaica Tallawahs in the men's opening encounter. Patriot skipper Dwayne Bravo says he has all-round depth and the ingredients to be successful again.
It's a good foundation we started to build, and we started to believe as a franchise, as a team, that we can also be a dominant force in CPL, and that's our challenge, that's our aim, and we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to defending our title, and not only that, but we just look forward to playing a brand of cricket to entertain the fans and make our franchise owners and the island of St. Kitts and Nevis proud. I want to see Shafin Rutherford be dominant again. I want to see Evan Lewis follow up from his last season. He was our best player with a bat. Young Brevis, I want to be able to try and calm him down a bit because he has so much talent, but sometimes I think very reckless at times. So all in all, I'm looking forward to see my brother get back into some good form. It's a move for him from TK as well. I think that change might do well for his cricket and for his career.
We really do hope so too for Darren Bravo. Meanwhile, the Tallawah's new captain in overseas player Chris Green says the just concluded 60 tournament was great preparation for his side.
For the guys who got a little bit of time in the middle, hitting the ball clean, it was really good for them, good confidence boost before our 2 games that we have here. And then for the bowlers, it was an opportunity to try out new things, particularly when batsmen are coming hard at us. So, practice a few death options, practice a few variations because, in those pressure situations, come the CPL starting tomorrow, we can perhaps use some of that to our advantage. So that was the 60. And from a team perspective, I think our preparation's going really well. We're starting to gel as a unit. I think that was probably the biggest benefit of the 60 is you get to play as a team before the tournament starts. So those moments where you're sort of stuck finding your feet, where to go, how the team operates, we've kind of got a little bit of that out the way now. And we come into the CPL really excited about what this team can achieve.
The men's match is set for 7 p.m., but before that, the women's CPL gets things going with Barbados Royals taking on the Trinbago Knight Riders at 3 p.m. Live coverage will be on MCTV's Sports Max. Let's look at weather now. The temperature right now is a cool 24.7 degrees Celsius. The rain has certainly helped to keep things a bit cooler this morning. It's feeling like 29 degrees Celsius, however, and the relative humidity is up to 88%. It's cloudy and slightly hazy on the outside. The barometric pressure is 1012.4 millibars, and those winds have really dropped significantly, coming out of the north-northeast at 6 kilometers per hour. We'll see a low tide this morning, late in the morning, at 4 minutes to midday. The high tide will come our way around 20 minutes after 6 in the evening. The seas are smooth to moderate in open water, swells between 1 and 2 meters and holding steady. Today in Barbados will be cloudy with occasional intermittent scattered light to moderate showers at first. We'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds by mid-morning. And tonight, we'll get a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. And that's it for this edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. I'll see you at 7 with headline news. Up next is Pearson with Mornin Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday, the last day of August 2022. That makes it the 31st of August. I'm Pearson Bowen, welcoming you here, there, and everywhere. Thank you for joining us on our streams on Facebook and YouTube. Now, today, Wednesday, we will be taking time to share with you an opportunity to learn more through our urologist. And the urologist will join us coming up a little later on. Plus, you get a chance to win some water with NPure water filtration, the Bajan Pure Water Indeed. We'll give you some words to unscramble. Also, today is the International Day for Peoples of African Descent. And so the Marlon the Gaul Voice Project was challenged to sing the Universal Ethiopian Anthem. Can't wait to share that with you in just a little while as well. When we talk HR with Hermab, we're talking performance management. Performance management. If you're an owner of a business, if you're a supervisor, you're a manager, you need to pay close attention when Hermab joins us this morning to take a critical look at that critical function in business of performance management. Just last week as well, the Lord's School would have turned on the lights for the very first time, and they had a historic T20 match as well. So we want to get an update on how that went, and we want to share with you even more on how you can lend to supporting the physical education department there at the Lord's School as they continue to do some really wonderful things. But let's get started this morning by introducing you to the winner of the inaugural Central Empowerment Calypso competition. Yes, you heard it right. Church Calypso competition. Yes, indeed. The chairman joins us too in Fabian Bartlett and the winner in Kian Brown. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Hello, Kian. You're all alone today?
Yes, please.
Congratulations, first of all, on your win. Now, it was last week. It was a ding-dong contest between 5 different sectors in the church. How was it really for you?
It was, honestly, I had a lot of fun. Preparing for it was a bit, hectic because of rehearsals and different stuff, but at the end, it was fun. Just getting to bring over a message the message of Jesus in a different way. It was exciting. Backstage, we had fun. We talked we talked, we encouraged each other, and it was a great feeling and although it was a competition,
yes,
it was still a great feeling and an awesome atmosphere.
I watched it and I thought, and it truly was an awesome atmosphere, it was so electric, people responding so positively, but you have some fantastic singers as well who came out there to minister through the idiom of Calypso in the church. And oftentimes, someone thinking Calypso competition in a church, what do you think about that reaction, and what would you say to anyone who would have had that reaction?
Well, for me, when I told people about it, they were like, your church doing a Calypso competition? I said, well, at the end of the day, Calypso is just a genre of music. It's a different way to portray Jesus. It's a different way to bring over a message. And at the end of the day, once your lyrics are clean, once you go there and you do what you have to do, it is nothing negative. In my opinion, it's nothing negative.
Yes, indeed. I mean, you can sing almost anything with your voice. I've seen you perform. I see the energy you throw behind it. But was this your first time really, truly tackling all the nuances of Calypso?
Well, the last competition we had in 2019, I actually won that as well. So this is my, I was a defending champion, so this is my second time.
You defended.
I was not sure at first that I could actually sing Calypso, to be honest. But after, just sitting down with the band and working out different details of what I want, and this and that, and then, the good thing about it is the person that wrote the song is an amazing. She wrote the last one that I won with and this one, and she is an amazing writer. And one thing she does that I love is that she helps you. So she sit down, she helped me to find my Calypso voice because I didn't even know I had one. And we went from there.
So who is this she you're talking about who helped you find your Calypso voice?
Well, what Auntie told me, I call her Auntie Orly. What she told me is phrasing is very important when you're singing Calypso.
Yes.
So what I did was I sat down. What I do is in anything that I'm doing, I sit down and I listen to a song over and over and over. What she did was she sang it for me, and I just followed on, putting my own little changes here and there. But when I sit down and I learn something, I learn it well. So in my preparation, listening, I picked up how to do the phrasing properly, how to pronounce certain things properly, and different things like that.
This is Ordine Dottin you're talking about?
Yes, please.
A phenomenal artist as well, So there you are. You had all of this in your camp. But you had judges sitting before you as well. And, even though you know your own skill set, you know what you can do, you've practiced well, at the end of the day, it's up to them. Did that in any way daunt you when you stood on stage and looked into the audience? You saw them sitting before you, watching you so intently with pen and paper. Did that scare you at all?
Well, honestly, I was nervous because I'm always nervous before going on stage. In general, the judges there was like a little. Actually, for me, it was a little motivating and a little scary. Because when I saw them, I was like, all right, so there is a competition. It's a competition, but it's a competition. All right, you know what? Again, out there and again, I have fun.
Yes.
So for me, it motivated me to just go there and give it my all. As one thing that I love to do, go there and give it my all. It is, honestly, as a singer, I get nervous every time I hit the stage. But just knowing that I can have fun and know that I can bring over the message and make people smile, even the judges smile, I was confident in that.
Nice. When you stop to think of it for just a moment, you are the first winner of the Calypso competition. I know you've won competitions before, but the Calypso competition. So now you are the defending monarch. Yes, ma'am. Do you would you be one of those who would sit and say, listen, we got to do this again. We got to do this again?
Well, honestly, I was saying that because I would do it again, but I was also saying I wouldn't. It depends on how I feel, because honestly, it is a lot of, it involves a lot of rehearsals, a lot of time, a lot of work. And, you know, sometimes in life, we are not always free to just go to rehearsals and things like that. So it depends on how my schedule is next year if we have it again.
So here we are watching a little bit of your performance. I'm not going to play the music just because I want to give it in its entirety. Give us the name of your song and give us some idea. So when we watch this video in a few minutes, we can get it. What was the song about and what was the name of it?
The song, it's called Bedside Baptist. It's about, since COVID, you know, people have been going to church online.
Yes.
So, and you know, now protocols are lifted and you are allowed to be back in the sanctuary. But if there's some people that still are like, you know what, I'm not going to church, I'm just going to go to church online. So it's basically, the song is basically telling you, guys, you need to not forsake the gathering of Christ. You need to come in and dwell together with your brothers and sisters in Christ. Your brothers and sisters help you to grow and grow and grow. And when we are at home online, most of the time we'd be in the kitchen cooking, we'd be sleeping, we don't hear half of the service. So basically it's just telling you, it's just giving you an example of all the things that will happen if you continue to be at home instead of coming to church. And we've named those people Bedside Baptist.
I love it, Bedside Baptist. Kian, congratulations to you. I feel guilty already because you described me in so many ways just now. You know, when you stay at home, you watch, you get distracted sometimes in doing so many other things. But congratulations, you have won the Sanctuary Empowerment Center's Calypso competition with your Bedside Baptist song. And we look forward to your repeat. I know you're still thinking, should I? But you will. I'm hopeful that you will. And next year, we can't wait to see how well you also perform them. But all the best. Thank you for joining us this morning. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So
have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Kian Brown, the winner. So as we go to break, let's take a look at Bedside Baptist as performed by the winner of the Sanctuary Empowerment Center's Calypso competition.
Charlotta.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
You can't church?
Girl, you know I don't go to church at Game Point Lane.
Seriously, all the time, sir? Alright, look, I gotta go inside. You know, I got a special ministry, I think, this morning. Gotta get myself right with the Lord.
Oh, sweet. I will see ya.
Bye-bye.
We're here to celebrate with God, celebrate and fellowship with each other. So, friends and family, here in the sanctuary and online, it is an honor to welcome you to Team Soul Purpose. No. To Team Soul Purpose. Special celebration, my testimony, God's gift.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. My heart is filled with gratitude this morning. Hallelujah. Has God done anything for you? Has God done anything at all for you? Has God done anything for you? Hallelujah.
Good night, sanctuary. Soul purpose. Now I have a story for you. Listen to me. Let me state, I don't mess with nobody religion. I don't do that, not at all. But there is this type of church goer that I don't know what they are called. But I can try to do the best in explaining in every way that I can to you. And if I wrong, all you got to tell me is what I say ain't true. Them is Christians, but a part-time church attendee, found only online and not even every Sunday. Yet they're staying home playing church, not knowing they're giving birth to a backsliding spirit released in the earth. Wait, I know the name now. Bedside Baptist. Bedside Baptist. Hear what I call it. Bedside Baptist. Aha! Bedside Baptist. Hear what I call them. Bedside Baptist. Aha! Bedside Baptist. Bedside Baptist. Well, don't be a Bedside Baptist. Aha! Wanna catch you one saying, right? They don't like to come church, but still don't want to be in the prayer line. What a shame that you don't see nothing wrong with this behavior, so no desire to change. Get you stuck in this mode of conduct and take you representing a name with no account to nobody else, only God himself, and you thinking that this is right. But I got a scripture for them. It's taken from Hebrews 10:25. Not forsaken, worshiping together, that's true. Do you think that one space in heaven and it's for you? There'll be thrones of people up there, so listen to what I say. Find yourself in the house of the Lord today, and don't be a Bedside Baptist. Bad behavior. Bedside Baptist. So hear what I tell you. Bedside Baptist. Aha! Bedside Baptist. Hear what I call them. Bedside Baptist. Bad behavior. Bedside Baptist. Aha! Bedside Baptist. Well, don't be a Bedside.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 12 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock this wonderful Wednesday morning. Also, another first that happened just last week was the day the lights turned on at the Lodge School. And so the Lodge School Old Scholars Association have been doing some phenomenal work, really, to aid the physical education department. We know the Lodge School for its prowess in sport generally. And so we're joined again this morning by the head of that department, the PE department, in Clifton Phillips. Good morning to you, Mr. Phillips.
Good morning to you, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Good to see you again. It's now all done and dusted. The lights have come on, and now we know that it can work at the Lodge School. How was it last Friday?
Well, it was beyond everybody's imagination, Pearson. You know, the lights, to see the lights at night at Lodge was something really, really a spectacle, and the public came out, Pearson, in numbers that we could not even have anticipated. You know, I guess the rain was some kind of a blessing because we had so many people, despite the showers. You know, people kept calling and asking if the game is on, but yet we had a wonderful crowd. There was no room really to put anybody else. The car park was jammed. You know, all up to Massage Street, Pearson. People lined the streets. You know, the plantation grounds next door, all parked up. There was actually no room to hold anybody else. But yet, since the game, everybody I've seen, half of them are saying they did not come because of the rains during the day. So I guess that was a blessing because I don't know where we would have put them, Pearson.
Well, that's a good problem to have. I love it indeed. You know, that kind of a problem. Work it out. So here we are. So who won? Who won, by the way, the past or the present?
Well, when the showers came at 11:37, Pearson, the schoolboys had the upper hand, but the Old Scholars are not accepting that. They're saying it's an incomplete game and they will want a rematch and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, we were robbed of those final 5 overs, which was going to come to an extent. And then the schoolboys were chasing 118 and 20 overs. They were 95 when the shower came with 5 overs left. So it's a cliffhanger. Coming up shortly will be the situation where we will have another game next month, not of this magnitude, but it's the Founders Week coming up. So then they can have their rematch. But it was all excitement at the Law School, Pearson.
So why can't we have it of the same magnitude for Founders Week? I mean, Barbadians really want to come up and experience the lights at the Lord School.
Wow. Well, the preparation, I don't know. But everybody's saying, let's make it an annual event. Some people are saying, let's do it soon again. I don't know. They say too much of anything is a good thing, even if it's a bad thing. So we don't really want to be, overdo it.
Right.
Really appreciate the support of the sponsors, everyone. And we had a wonderful team who really worked really hard to put everything together, Pearson. The members of the PTA made their contribution. The Old Scholars made their contribution. It was really the canteen proprietor, the secretary of the principal. He was magnificent in doing all the correspondence and the follow-ups and so on and so forth. We had a really wonderful team, Pearson. And as I said, the public really supported the effort.
And we want to continue to support your effort there at the Law School as well. You're raising funds to continue the great work in the physical education department, and the Old Scholars are committed to being able to do so. So help us all, and I mean, we know the Law School, we always want to beat the Law School because when the Law School turns up, we know there's stiff competition. So talk to me about what else you still need in the physical education department to further advance the tremendous spirit there at the Law School.
Well, as I had said earlier, we have a need where we have some students who are, are unable to fund their sport. So we want to be able to do that. We want to be able, as I said earlier, to get that bowling machine to really be able to fine-tune techniques. We want to get the high jump pit. We want to get the long jump pit going. We want to get all these things happening at the school. And therefore, we're still open, if anyone can contact the school and make their donations, their contributions, contact the Old Scholars, the PTA, anybody connected with the Law School, that can be done so that we can have this program running the way that we know we want it to have it running.
And you're right. I mean, and even so, you live within a nice community in St. John, so we'd love to have the Rose Gate, all of those within the vicinity to also lend your financial support, because what happens at the Lord's School affects all of you in that area of St. John as well. So as many of you as possible, donate. And so you're looking for mostly cash donation, because I mean, you got to purchase equipment and do and so forth. But I'm also sure that there are people who have certain skill sets, because when you're ready to do the work, you need the workers on hand, don't you?
That's right, Pearson. And Friday night was special also because so many connections were made. Networking, you know, people were coming over, and they were offering to do different things, different skill sets, you know, that are out there. So what we will do is we will try to make contact with all these people, because we have things, you know, people who want to do printing, people who can build stuff, people who can have various services that they want to help the school. So we want all these people you can contact the school, let us have your information so that we can develop, you know, probably a register of all these people, so that we know straight away when we want to go to an activity, where to find the resources. As I said, everyone is looking forward to another game. Many people are saying let's make an annual event. So who knows? You know, we're having our post-mortem tomorrow, and we will go through with a fine-tooth comb everything that we did and see where we may have come up short. You know, I think I need to apologize to those people, because, you know, we ran up basically of everything. Pearson.
I do. It's a good problem to have.
Yes, it's a good problem. We could not foresee, you know, we did not foresee that.
Yes.
The magnitude of the crowd. So we apologize for that. But, you know, if we do it again in the future, I'm sure that we will make it even better. It was a good learning curve for us.
I'm watching you, I'm hearing you, and I can see that spirit just pouring out of you. You are so pleased. It means so much to you to see all of these supporting this effort here, supporting the Lord's School, but also passionately supporting the physical education work that you're doing as head of the department there. Let's talk a little bit about some of the stars from the Lord's School through your physical education department. That I dropped some names because I really want people to see how they can now add to who is coming through at the Lodge.
Well, over the years, we've had people like Shamar Brooks, who is in the West Indies team at the moment. We've had people like Shadia Seeley, who at one point held the Barbados national record.
Yes.
We've had people like Darian King. We don't have a big tennis program, but Darian King, who was a champion tennis player, he came through. We had people like Mara Weeks, who dominated track and field at the national stadium for a long time. Romel Burgess, who represented Barbados in World Cup football. You know, we had several people, Kyle Corbin, who went to the Under-19 World Cup, along with Shamar Brooks when he captained, you know. So there are a lot of people who would have come through the program and who would have benefited from the program. So we want to continue the next generation. Pearson, I'm excited by what I'm seeing at the school at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, after the lockdown of 2 years, we really want to unlock the energy, the vitality that I'm seeing there. We really want to unlock that and get that going, so that next generation. What we saw on Friday night was, you know, multiple generations of lost past students and the present students, Pearson. It was like a school day for them. You know, it seems as though every law school student was there at that night.
Nice.
And then all the generations, the intermixed, you know. So we really want to continue that and keep that going for as long as we possibly can.
And you know, building that school pride is so vital. You know, it can really do a lot for the future in terms of what else you do. You know, there's some other names that you didn't call, but I can call them. There's a Mark Seal, who works with us here at the CBC, head of our news and sports department. You know, he himself a cricketer of some note. And then there's my nephew, Bradley Cutting, who himself was quite an athlete while he was there as well. So
a good hurler.
Yeah, you remember him?
Yes, a good hurler, very good hurler, and musician as well.
Yes, indeed, musician and a hurler, indeed, a brilliant young man, still doing a lot of fantastic work indeed too. So there's a lot that has come through the Lodge School, and I really want to commend you and your team there for the great work that you're doing, that you continue to do. Again, let's remind people how they can still make donations towards the purchase of equipment as you build out further your sports program there at the Lodge?
Right. Before you do that, Pearson, let me mention that a few years ago we sent a team to the Penn Relays. And of 683 teams, we finished in 3rd position.
Congrats.
Right. I believe it's the only medal of that nature which resides in Barbados. So that was also an outstanding achievement as well. How people can help us, you know, they can get in contact with the school, get in contact with PTA, and any person from the law school can make those connections and make your donation, make your contribution. Pearson, at this time, you also want to thank the sponsors so much. You know, Williams Industries, in the form of Busy Williams and his son Stuart Williams. They were outstanding with the lights. You know, that was the biggest element of the event. KMJ Transport and Funeral Service. The Border Sports, Mr. Miller, Vibisco, and Wayne Cool Simmons, the sound system. You know, he provided the sound system for us, and the 2 commentators kept the crowd rocking all night. All night, Mr. Pearson. All night. People are talking about it all the time. Kirkstron and Wayne Holder, they kept the crowd on their toes. And we had many giveaways. And they came up with lots of questions. And people were just rushing forward. We gave away lots of mugs, lots of different things we gave away. And it was really an outstanding. So we're asking that come in the future, people to donate, you know, even their time. Because time is important.
Indeed.
If we do this event again, Pearson, we need more hands. We need a lot more hands. So if anyone who wants to volunteer, you know, we feel free. And that was the good thing about it. Everyone, Pearson, volunteered their time or their resources, their skills, you know, and that is the beauty of the law school family and friends, because they were not only law school people, they were friends of the law school.
That's great. Now listen,
Really,
in your post-mortem tomorrow, just let them know strongly we say do it again. Do it again and do it real soon. We're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much, Clifton Phillips, head of the PE department at the Lodge School. Congratulations on quite an outstanding achievement, and I hope that many people continue to support the efforts there. We'll take a break here. We're coming back with the news in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Here's your headline news for this Wednesday, August 31st. 2 men were shot dead and another injured in 3 separate shooting incidents hours apart yesterday. The first occurred around 6:25 in the evening. Several gunshots were reportedly heard in the area of Kings Gap, Eagle Hall, St. Michael, before the victim was discovered motionless in the front passenger seat of a vehicle outside the front door of his home. The deceased has been identified by close family members as Gerard Trismal Jones Cox. Minutes after, around 6:30 at Endeavour near Orange Hill, St. James, a 25-year-old man was shot dead and injured there. Police say he was shot by another man while standing outside a residence at the said location. The victim was transported to a medical facility by private transportation. He was reported to be in stable condition and had undergone surgery. Then hours later, at around 10:06, the second fatal shooting at Redmond's Gap Westbury Road, St. Michael, was recorded. Police, upon arrival at the scene, discovered the motionless body of a man. He has since been identified as 43-year-old Rommel Trotman of the same community. Now, it's an effort to avoid a repeat of what happened during Hurricane Elsa after major communication blackouts, which slowed down the response of the Barbados Light and Power Company, leaving several communities in the dark for days. The utility has invested in a new level of comms. They've made a significant donation of VHF hand radios to the Department of Emergency Management to be used by the district emergency organizations and its officers on the ground. DEO officials tested the systems yesterday at the BLPC's garrison headquarters. Now, this VHF system is more reliable and will ensure DEOs can communicate with the BLPC and their teams out in the field, as well as with other emergency officials in the event of an impact by a weather system. Johan Graves, the Director of Operations at the BLPC, explains this is a necessary step to ensure that communication is secured at all levels.
What we can assure you is that we have prepared all of our systems and have our systems in a state of readiness that we can respond to any eventuality that comes to us. Our hope, obviously, will be able to improve based on what would have happened last year. We've done reviews of what would have occurred, looked at the shortcomings, put different systems in place. And what we saw here today demonstrated was one of the things that we came up with, things that we could have put in place. So we've actually added another communication channel so that we can receive information faster. But to say definitively that next time it could be shorter, we don't know, because we don't know what the nature of that event would be.
Let's look at the local COVID-19 situation now. There are 3 more deaths recorded here in Barbados associated with the virus. 2 of them, ages 78 and 79, died on Monday, August 29th, while the other, who was 83 years of age, passed away yesterday. Their deaths have brought the number of casualties from the virus to 542. Meanwhile, there were 148 new cases of COVID-19 recorded. The 60 males and 88 females were recorded from 679 tests conducted on Monday. As far as the isolations are concerned, 80 people were in isolation facilities, while 1,378 people were in home isolation. And finally, in sports, the 2022 Hero Caribbean Premier League gets going today at Warner Park, St. Kitts. The defending champions, the hosts St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, will battle the Jamaica Tallawahs in the men's opening encounter. The Patriots skipper Dwayne Bravo says he has all-round depth and the ingredients to be successful yet again.
It's a good foundation we started to build, and we started to believe as a franchise, as a team, that we can also be a dominant force in CPL, and that's our challenge, that's our aim, and we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to defending our title, and not only that, but we just look forward to playing a brand of cricket to entertain the fans and make our franchise owners and the island of St. Kitts and Nevis proud. I want to see Shafin Rutherford be dominant again. I want to see Evan Lewis follow up from his last season. He was our best player with a bat. Young Brevis, I want to be able to try and calm him down a bit, because he has so much talent, but sometimes I think very reckless at times. So all in all, I'm looking forward to see my brother get back into some good form. It's a move for him from TK as well. I think that change might do well for his cricket and for his career.
The men's match is set for 7 p.m., but before that, the women start kick off things in the CPL, and they get going around 3 p.m. The Barbados Royals taking on the Trinbago Knight Riders. Live coverage will be on MCTV's Sports Max. You can check out the action there. And that's your headline news for this Wednesday morning. I'm Shane Seeley. Pearson will rejoin you with more on Mornin Barbados in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 9 minutes now after the hour of 7 o'clock. Time for me to give you a chance now to win with NPure water filtration, winning some Bajan Pure purified water. I have a question. I hope you have the answer, but I need you to call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. What is that question? The question is easy, and I really do hope you have the answer. Note the numbers to call: 228-5562 or 228-5563. Here is the question I'll give to you now. The question is, how many 500 milliliter bottles of water are in a case of Bajan Pure water? Look at the case. So how many of those 500 ml bottles are in that case? How many? You call me and you tell me. 228-5562 or 228-5563. How many 500 milliliter bottles of water are in a case of Bajan Pure water? If you get it right, you win one of those cases. So 228-5562 or 228-5563. Good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. What parish are you watching from?
I'm watching from St. Michael.
St. Michael. What do you think is the answer? How many 500 milliliter bottles of water are in a case of Bajan Pure water?
24.
That's a guess. I want you to tell me the answer.
It's 24.
You're telling me the answer or you're guessing?
I'm telling you.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What makes you so certain, ma'am? I'm just no curious because you have me about to laugh. So tell me, what makes you so certain?
I've been there before.
You've been where before?
At NPR. At the warehouse.
You've been to the warehouse and you bought yourself a case of water?
Yes, please.
And when you purchased that case of water, you took the time to count them?
Of course. I have to know how much water.
Of course, she said. I love that. After all, you wanted to be certain that what you asked for, you got. And you're sticking with this answer of 24 and not 48.
I'm sticking to it.
All right. What's your first name?
Tamika.
Hello, Tamika, you're absolutely right. It's 24 bottles in a case of water, indeed. And you know, Tamika, when you went to the warehouse there in Salter, St. George, you went to purchase your water. Why?
Because I actually had gotten some from another friend who won on Mornin Barbados.
Oh, and you like the taste and the flow and the flavor, right?
Yes, yes.
And so you said, I got to get my own. I love it indeed.
And it was fairly inexpensive, so.
Yes, they are very affordable. And so now you've won yourself your case. Are you going to share that with your friend?
Of course, I will, of course.
How would I know that you're telling me the truth?
You want me to call?
You're a poncy kind of girl. I like you. I like you. Tamika, thank you so much. Stay on the line. We'll take some more details from you, indeed. But congratulations. She's got herself a case, a 24-bottle case of water from NPure Water Filtration. They are the dealers of Bajan Pure purified water. And as she said, she now knows the benefits, and you can too. So as you head out to shop today, look on the label. Look for Bajan Pure purified water and purchase off the shelves. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we are talking HR with Hermap. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we're 15 and a half minutes now after 7 o'clock as we turn our attention to Talking HR with Hermab. Look forward to this every Wednesday morning on Morning Barbados. Today we're looking at a very big subject of performance management. And joining us this morning to help us walk this through so we better understand what it is and how we can implement it and the benefits it can bring to our business is my good friend, Joan Underwood, the president of Hermab, professional coach, talent development specialist. A mouthful, indeed, but a great lady. And with her is Cara Boyce, who is a human resource executive. Good morning, ladies.
Morning, Pearson.
Good morning, Pearson.
You know, Joni, my biggest accolade for you is my friend. Can you imagine that? Isn't it wonderful to hear that?
Yes, I count it as a high honor.
Oh, thank you so much. Indeed. So today we're talking performance management, and oftentimes businesses can not do it, or they can be doing it right or doing it wrong. And so there are questions about what is performance management. Let's start with you, Joan. What is performance management so we understand the context of our discussion?
Well, first of all, let me emphasize that it's a comprehensive system. So it's not an ad hoc or catch and fly as you can arrangement. So performance management is a comprehensive system which enables organizations to cascade their goals and strategies at the organizational level down to the departmental and ultimately the individual level. So your organization has a strategic plan, you have certain goals and objectives. You then bring them down from the level of the organization to the departments. So you say, what does each department need to do for us to successfully execute this strategy and achieve our goals? Then when you get to the level of your department, you say, what does each individual within each department have to do for us to successfully execute the strategy and achieve our goals and objectives? So that will then be a development plan for each employee. But you're not done yet, because then the supervisors and managers need to meet with each employee to explain to them how they contribute to the realization of the organizational level strategy, goals, and objectives. And you monitor the performance throughout the period to ensure that they are delivering. In that way, there won't be any surprises at the end. So if someone is not on target for hitting their individual goals and objectives, then you know the department won't be on target. And if your department is not on target, then the organization won't be on target. So through performance management, like I said, it's a system. You ensure that everyone contributes to the realization of the organizational level goals and objectives and strategy.
So naturally, it's important to be able to do so because we want our businesses to be successful and to run well so that we avoid hiccups when they occur and we can spot problems before they actually become huge. And that's the whole point, because within all of the performance management of people and the organization are processes as well. And so how do we capture that within all that we're doing? It seems to me as if, Joan, we need to have some serious conversation from top down, bottom, and bottom up.
Absolutely. And one of the ways that we do this is through having these performance coaching conversations where we engage with each employee to find out where he or she is relative to the goals that have been established, what support they need in order to deliver on their plans, and also to give them the opportunity to be part of problem solving and coming up with creative ways for them to deliver on the strategy, for them to meet their goals and objectives. And you can't have this once a year. It needs to be an ongoing conversation between the line staff and the direct supervisor or line manager. And then, as you said, it's top down and bottom up, to be feeding the information back up the chain of command so that the decision makers know, well, do we need to adjust the strategy? Do we need to allocate more resources? And in terms of it coming top down now, Have things changed in the external environment that might require you to change, if not your strategy, at least your tactics at the operational level in terms of what you need to do to deliver?
And so, Kara, help me here, because one doesn't want the employee to feel that it is punitive when you implement a performance management system. So what are some of those tools and techniques and strategies that one can use to manage it so that it is a collaborative effort and we all see the goal and we all benefit from that, what we see?
Pearson, I absolutely love that question. And I want to underscore something that Joan mentioned before. It's a comprehensive process. And as an organization and as leaders, we have to approach performance management as a whole with many parts. And it begins at the point of onboarding. So when we look at our employees and when employees begin that relationship with us, the first tool that companies and leaders need to understand is critical to managing an employee's performance is the onboarding process. In some instances, we may have employees who join an organization and they don't receive an effective onboarding. They are not trained, they don't receive the tools up front to be able to do the job. And when we get to either their 3 or 6 month probation, it is a detriment to their performance. So I believe that the answer to your question would be, once we start this process from the beginning and employees recognize that as leaders, we are walking with them, we are coaching them to be able to realize that performance and to be able to realize those objectives, they would be at ease and recognize that this is really about me. This is about me being able to be my best in my job at my organization. So that's one tool. And some other tools would include setting those KPIs. So Joan would have referred to the performance appraisals, and that's usually the standard approach that organizations are familiar with. Some organizations, they would have their appraisals quarterly, they might do it twice a year, and then other organizations might do it once a year. I do not recommend that because you need to be able to have that coaching conversation throughout the year so persons are given the opportunity to course correct. They're given the opportunity to improve their performance. So it begins with first setting those KPIs, those key performance indicators at the beginning of the year. If we want to use, regular layman term, we can say setting those SMART goals, those goals that, as Joan mentioned earlier, can connect into the department objectives that then connect into the organizational overall strategy and objectives. So we need to set those KPIs first. Then we also set up the coaching conversations, whether we wish to do that on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, or twice a year. Of course, when you're having those conversations with the employees, the focus is not to just, pay attention to their shortcomings. It's not just about identifying their weaknesses, but also recognizing their strengths. So it's great to use what I like to call a sandwich approach, right? Whereby you start off with the good. In between there, if you're going to put some ham or some cheese, that can be the things that they need to work on, the opportunities for growth. And then you close off with the good again, right? So once you do that, once you take that approach, employees are more receptive. Now, once you're having those conversations and you notice that there are opportunities for growth, that's where we focus on the individual developmental plans. That's another tool to manage performance, right? And Joan would have referenced it earlier as well. Individual developmental plans makes it unique to our employees. They recognize, well, hey, this is where the company is taking me. The company is invested in my growth. They're not just seeing my shortcomings as, something that's detrimental to the achievement of the objectives, but they're walking the journey with me. And the final tool that I want to mention, Pearson, is reward and recognition schemes. These are all things that we're so familiar with in the organization, but sometimes we don't interconnect them. We're not seeing that as an integrated process. It is comprehensive. And once you are managing performance and someone achieves that performance, you want to reward and recognize them. That's the only way that we can continue to generate that productivity and that progress out of our employees. So I hope I've answered your question.
I think you have. We're talking about generating that productivity, generating those successes as well. Joan, there are people listening today who are saying, and they own their business, this sounds like a lot of work. This sounds so difficult to do. And if we don't do it, what do you see to be some of the pitfalls that could arise for that business if we don't take the time to do it?
Well, here's the thing. Remember, we outlined the structure of it. It starts from your strategy as a business. What are your objectives in the business? Now, remember, we then align that with the performance of each and every employee in the organization. Is it a lot of work? Well, compared to not doing it, it's a lot of work. But guess what? If you don't have that alignment, you're taking a gamble in terms of whether or not you're going to be able to execute on your strategy. So if you're in the business to be successful, which I cannot imagine that you're not, then there's certain things that you need to do which will contribute to your success. And effective performance management is one of those things. And I'll go further and to say it has a dual purpose. So it has an administrative purpose, and so the business owners and the people in the C-suite, you have a mandate to make this business successful. And the administrative purpose, you can see that as relating to ensuring the success of the business by having the right resources in the right place at the right time to execute on the strategy effectively. The next part is the developmental component, and that comes into your people aspect of it now in terms of talent development. So in addition to ensuring that the business is accomplishing what it wants to accomplish, performance management gives you the opportunity to ensure that your people are developing in the way that they would want to develop so that they can become more productive and so that you're able to determine in consultation with them opportunities for upward mobility, even for lateral movements within the organization, to have them get a broader experience within the organization, to find out where their interests lie so that they can contribute in other areas. So it's win-win, but you have to do the work up front. There's no getting around that.
Is this as critical for the larger business as it would be for the smaller business? Because there's some very small boutique businesses that have fewer employees who figure, we're all in this together anyway. I'm boss, but I'm also at the front serving. Do I need to have this kind of structure in place as well for that small business?
Absolutely, because you still have a strategy to execute. It may not be as complicated because in the larger organizations, especially in the digital era now, they may have apps that enable them to cascade the goals down to individual development plans. They may have tracking systems for monitoring and evaluation. With all smaller entities, you may be handling it manually, but you still need to get it done.
So for any business right now who has not yet put in place a performance management system, and they're thinking, listen to two of you, I better start it today, but is it making sense to start it now in September? And they're questioning whether or not that is a practical way to do it. Is it practical to start it at any time, or do we wait for January to do it so we can measure a 12-month calendar year? What do you say?
You want to take that, Kara?
Sure, sure. Well, when we look at practicality, if we don't start at any point, we run the risk of maintaining that low productivity level. We run the risk of maintaining a culture that is not positive. We continue to maintain the risk of having a high turnover, etc. So my advice would be to start. Right now, what you can do is if your financial year is September or if it starts in January, you can align your process to the beginning of your financial year because, of course, sometimes performance management leads to the payout of incentives and so forth, okay? But we have to recognize that it requires a culture change. And so if you are deciding that you want to implement your process from January 2023, now is a great time to start sensitizing your staff, to start training your managers, start training your supervisors, start developing your tools that you're going to be using so that once you roll it out, it is a smooth process and persons are accustomed to the culture of managing performance. And of course, organizations like HERMAB can support in that area.
So it starts with a discussion, Joan, at the management level, at the C-suite, as you call it, where we sit together and we determine, you know what, we want to move our business forward. This is the level of success and the ways that we want to measure success as well. How now do we achieve this? And it's at that level that you determine those key performance indicators that will help you to be able to identify that success. You can see it, almost taste it and feel it, and then it's cascaded down to the individual and back up as the buy-in comes through as well. So today, because I have this feeling that there are some people who operate businesses right now who are thinking, I need to start this as soon as possible. Give us one thing, Joan, you think that we can actually begin for them to begin doing today so to begin on that road towards implementing that performance management system.
Okay, the first thing, and I'm going to sneak in a second one behind it, is don't let your strategy be a secret. Your staff, your employees, they're the ones executing the strategy. So the strategic, while it starts in the C-suite, it cannot stop there. So the first thing I would say is involve your people in the strategic planning process. And then the other one that I'm going to sneak in is for those small entities who may feel a little bit overwhelmed. I'm going to give you a quick and dirty way that you can keep your finger on the pulse in terms of the performance management. And you can have a stand-up meeting with your little team and just have everyone answer 3 small questions. This is after you've done your planning and you've cascaded your goals. And whether you do this once a week, you can say to each person, what are you working on? How does that tie into our strategic objectives? And how can we support you? 3 simple questions. There you have a performance management system. Once you've cascaded the individual goals down from your organizational level strategy.
What are you working on? How does it tie into our overall strategy? And how can I support you? Wow.
That's it.
Wow. I feel like going to my department right now and starting the conversation again with them. It's all about performance management. And we're asked every day as businesses to measure our performance because we want to align it with revenue. We want to align it with people's pay. And so it's important that we begin today as we move Barbados forward to becoming a world-class society where we're performing at that kind of level, that we do pay greater attention to these kinds of tools and techniques within our individual businesses as we move forward as a nation indeed. And HERMAB is here to help. The Human Resources Management Association of Barbados. Remember to go to the website hermab.org.bb. You can learn more. Membership comes with benefits. I keep saying that at the end of it all. And whether you come as an HR practitioner yourself or other forms of people who are engaged with people, there's membership opportunity there for you as well with HERMAB. And I want to encourage as many people as possible, if you want to reach out and let HERMAB and its team guide you through the process of performance management. Thank you so much, Cara Boys, and thank you to my friend Joan Underwood from HERMAB. All the best, and look forward to next week's exchange with you. Thank you.
Take care now.
Thank you.
You too, you too. Wow, performance management. Small, large, it does not matter. It is critical. What are you working on? How does it align with our overall strategy? And how can I support you? Just 3 basic questions you can ask today of every one of your employees. We're going to take a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
24 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Time for you to unscramble some letters for me. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Those are the numbers for me to challenge you, or rather for you to challenge me if you choose. So here we go. Unscrambling the letters this time around. See if you can unscramble this. And all of these are words that I'm telling you, you know. So the numbers to call, 228-5562 or 228-5563. Look, there is your first word. That's the first word. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Look at it very carefully. E-I-R-H-G-A-E-T. And tell me, when you put those letters in order, what word you can come up with. My first thought was teacher, but then I realized, nope, there's no C in that or er. So 228-5562 or 228-5563. What word do you think we can make when we put these letters in order? Unscramble these letters and tell me the word you make. Call me now from anywhere across the island, anywhere across the globe. If you're calling from overseas, and I'd love to hear from you, don't just sit there and watch. Call to area code 246. Of course, it's 1-246-228-5562 or 1-246-228-5563. Locally, 228-5562 or 228-5563. Come on, use your magic, use your brain. Tell me what you see when you unscramble the letters that you see on your screen right now. The word that you can actually make from those letters as well. Call me from St. Lucie to Christchurch and in between, of course. Haven't heard from St. Andrew, haven't heard from St. Joseph, have not heard from St. George and St. John. All of you on the East Coast, come on. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Of course, I'd love to hear from my people in St. Lucie as well. So 228-5562 or 63. Sort these letters out into some order and tell me the word you can actually derive once you've done so. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. And tell me now, what is your first name and the parish you're watching from?
Nicole and Christchurch.
Nicole in Christchurch. Nicole of Christchurch. Where exactly in Christchurch are you?
Rendezvous.
You're in Rendezvous. All right, Nicole from Rendezvous. Tell me the word you see on your screen.
Heritage.
Say it again.
Heritage.
Use it in a sentence. Home begins with an M, an H, I guess. So, but tell me, use this word that you think it is, heritage, in a sentence. You're going to...
I think I can't think of a sentence right now.
All right, that's all right. It's all in your heritage, my dear. But that's all right. Thank you, Nicole of Rendezvous. You're absolutely right. Heritage it is indeed. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.Nicole has spotted heritage. I got one for you now. You have to be as old as Methuselah, I think, to get this one. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Us country people, we know this one right away. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Look at this word on your screen. P-R-C-P-O-A. P-R-C-P-O-A. Put those letters in order and tell me the word you make. I dare you. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Come on, work this one out and let me hear what you come up with. I already know the answer, not because I have the answer, but because I know the answer by looking at it too. So I've been able to employ one of your strategies by looking at it and getting it right away. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Of course, I'll ask you to use it in a sentence. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Pearson.
Hi, how are you?
I am blessed and highly favored. How are you?
Oh, I am blessed and highly favored as well, so we must be related. We got to be related, right?
Oh, all right then.
What's your first name and where are you watching us from?
My name is Kathy. I'm calling from St. George.
Hello, Kathy of St. George. Call you out, girl. I'm glad to hear you, Kathy. So tell me, what word do you see on your screen?
I see crapola.
You see crapola? What are you laughing at? Use the word you see in a sentence for me, Kathy.
A big crap outside in the yard.
Listen, you're absolutely right, Kathy. Do you remember, Kathy, that they used to oftentimes be in those wet, moist areas near the wells?
Yes.
You old enough?
You would find them.
You old enough to know those things?
I remember growing up. Yes.
And finding them outside in the yard.
Yes.
Step on them. Just step on them. Just step on them. Have you ever done
I used to run from them.
Why? They will hop at you.
I hate them. I don't like them. I don't like to see them.
Or were you one of those girls who would reach for a handful of salt to deal with them?
Yes, and stay a mile off and throw it.
Big frightened woman. That's all right, Kathy.
I admit.
Yes, I understand. Trust me. My mother felt the same way as you. But my mother was afraid of them too, so I know. But thank you so much, Kathy, all right?
You're most welcome. Have a great day.
Likewise to you, indeed. So we've got 2 down. 2, Rendezvous and St. George. We got 2 answers. Now work this one out too. A different word now. Different word is on your screen. Unscramble this new word that's on your screen. 228-5562 or 228-5563 at now. And call me and tell me the word you see on your screen. It's a new one. And see if you can sort this one out right now. Right now. 228-5562 or 228-5563. We've had Christchurch. And we've had St. George so far, St. Lucie, St. Peter, St. James, St. John. Good morning. Hello. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
How are you doing? We laughing at? What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the word.
At what word?
I'm too late now.
You're laughing at what word?
Pardon?
What word were you laughing at?
The word is going to come up on the screen now.
What word were you laughing at?
Crapo.
Oh, you have one of those things, those services.
Yeah.
Sister, you know you are miles behind. Do you know that?
Oh.
In other words, you are slow.
I am slow.
Yes, you can try MCTV, it's just a phone call away, but nonetheless, do you see the new word on your screen now? Has it finally reached you? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. See how slow you are? We switch up this word ever since,
Okay,
thank you for trying though, okay? That's all right. Thank you. Don't feel bad. Be cool. 228-5562 or 228-5563. The new word is on your screen. And let's see if you can figure this one out. Remember, by the way, MCTV's customer care desk opens at 8 o'clock every day, Monday to Friday. And our customer care officers are happy to receive your request to sign up for MCTV. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Pearson, my love.
Oh, my word. Look at you. You got my big cheeks.
I'm calling from Hope Road.
You're kidding me. Who's this?
This is Deborah from Northumberland and Hope Road.
Deborah, my friend. How you doing?
I'm blessed, darling. How are you?
Oh, I am doing wonderfully. You have me smiling from ear to ear right now, Debs. Good to hear you.
I got
Deborah?
used to the sentence instead of calling the word.
Let me hear you.
The birds are in the sanctuary.
Yes! Debbie, you're absolutely right. Sanctuary is correct. I love it.
I love you
Deborah,
too.
Well done. Good
Have
to
a
hear you.
great
Say
day,
hi.
hon.
You too. Say hi to everybody for me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. We grew up together. That's Deborah. We grew up together. It's so wonderful to hear some of your childhood friends coming through. My production crew say boo, but hey, we grew up together. That's all right. So we had some fun today. Thank you, St. Lucie. You finally came through for me. Thank you so much. St. George and St. Christchurch as well. Thank you all. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it? More fun tomorrow. You better believe it. Delayed gratification. We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, our urologist, Dr. Paul Rouse, will join us. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're approaching 13 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock as we head into the doctor's surgery. We're looking today with our urologist, Dr. Paul Rouse. Dr. Rouse, good morning to you.
Good morning, Barbados. Good morning, Pearson. Thanks for having me again.
You know, someone showed me a picture of you recently and said, you look just like he. I was like, Paul Rouse, me? But so be it, so be it. They said to me, he's tall and he's skinny just like you. And I said, all right, fair enough, fair enough.
No,
So
good. They keep always telling me I look like you.
Oh dear, here we go. So what are we talking about today, Dr. Rouse?
Although we talked about this topic a few months ago, I wanted to bring it back because, again, it's a very common urological problem.
Mhm.
And recently I've seen an surge in the number of patients presenting to my practice with recurrent urinary tract infections. And the real problem with urinary tract infections is that, one, it's very common. A lot of the cases, fortunately, is nothing more than a acute urinary tract infection and nothing to be concerned about. But unfortunately, sometimes it can be a sign that something more serious is going on with the urinary tract. So if we play the slides a bit, I think it was really good for our audience. I usually obviously start with, whenever I see my patients, go through the basic anatomy with them so that when we start talking all the different terminologies that we're all on the same page. I think most people know about the kidneys. Most people wouldn't necessarily know the tube going from the kidney into the bladder, which is the ureter, and then the bladder water passage, or the urethra, which is the anterior wall of the vagina as women, or traversing the course of the penis as men. But what a urinary tract infection really is the inflammatory response of the lining of the urinary system to infection. In this case, it's bacterial, most commonly bacterial infection, but now it's viral because we have a lot of issues with different viruses. It can be parasitic in some parts of the world, like in Egypt and those sort of areas. They have a lot of parasitic infections. And some of the rare things like tuberculosis, not in our region, but more common in Asia. So this is really what a urinary tract infection is all about. When it's confined or when it's more predominantly in the kidneys, we call it acute pyelonephritis. When it's more in the bladder, we call it acute cystitis, or commonly, as most people say, infection. And it helps to be to differentiate between which area of the urinary system that the infection is coming from, because the approaches can be slightly different in terms of how you manage it, but also the seriousness of it. We're not trying to play a system. It's a lot more common. Fortunately, it's usually reasonably well treated with antibiotics, and usually doesn't tend to cause as much problems as pyelonephritis. So when you have a kidney infection or acute pyelonephritis, that usually tends to be quite disabling. Fever, feeling unwell, sick, vomiting. The symptoms tend to be a lot more severe and a lot more disruptive. And unfortunately, one of the problems or complications of urinary tract infection is that it can become a more generalized infection, or what we call sepsis. This is a more generalized response to infection, sepsis. Since it's urological, we call it urosepsis. This is a lot more common with pyelonephritis, and therefore potentially a lot more serious condition. But one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this back into the forefront of Bajans as a whole is that sometimes the urinary tract infections, especially when they become recurrent, can be a sign that something else is going on more serious with the urinary system. Now, not to get everybody scared and run off to their doctor right away, but yes, if you're having recurrent infections, medically we call that if you have more than one infection within a 3-month period or 3 within a 6-month period. That's our technical definition for recurrent urinary tract infections. It's always important to make sure that there's no anatomical problems with the urinary system, that there's no blockages, there's no kidney stones, there's no tumors or growths anywhere along the urinary system, or if there's any functional problems with the urinary system. More commonly it will be bladder dysfunction, where people are not emptying the bladders very well. This can occur in ladies as well as in men. The usual things in men, the more common things being an enlarged prostate, cause the men not to empty the bladder more efficiently. So that's why it's so important, if you notice that you're having recurrent urinary tract infections, that you do in the first instance see your GP. I think it's a very widely accepted principle that if you attend with a problem more than once and we divert treatment and it doesn't quite work, then we always second guess our diagnosis and get some further investigation to see, one, that we've got a diagnosis, or two, if there's something else going on. So I think this can easily be handled by my general practitioner colleague, who always start off with some of the basic investigations, especially an abdominal ultrasound, which is readily available. If there's any obvious abnormality of the urinary system, then they will usually then refer on to myself as urologist or some of my other urological colleagues for further evaluation and treatment. And the reason why I really want to harp on this, that it's really important to get that assessment when you have recurrent urinary tract infections, is because it can be a signal that something else more serious is going on in the urinary system, especially obstruction. So for me, from a urologist, obstruction of the urinary system is a readily reversible cause of chronic kidney disease. Unfortunately, we see that a lot here, besides diabetes, hypertension, the other NCDs that can cause chronic kidney disease. Unfortunately, obstruction of the urinary tract, stone disease, is a common cause for this as well, and a readily reversible cause if it's treated early. And that's the problem I notice here in my practice in Barbados. Unfortunately, I see a lot of patients with stone disease who've been managing it conservatively, a lot of the times with repeat course of antibiotics. Understandably, surgery in a private practice is quite expensive. Obviously, we do have delays at the hospital in terms of being able to get your surgery in a speedy manner. And unfortunately, this leads to potential damage to the patient's kidney if they have stone disease, urinary tract obstruction. But if you deal with this early when stones are small, then the treatments are a lot easier, a lot more effective, can be done as a day procedure in a lot of the cases. And therefore, that's what I'm trying to drive, the message to drive home is that if you pick up a lot of abnormalities of the urinary system early, a lot of the cases, it can be dealt with endoscopically as an outpatient procedure, and faster recovery, faster back out to your normal life. And therefore, that's why it's so important to pick these things up early.
Right.
Then there are obviously, unfortunately, some of the more serious things like cancer of the urinary system. Very rarely, unfortunately, you have kidney cancer presenting this way, but one of the more not so nice things that I've picked up here, and although we don't have a lot of cigarette smoking when you compare it to North America or European populations, we do see, I still do see quite a bit of bladder cancer in my practice. And unfortunately, bladder cancer, I hope you can remember from some of my previous talks, can be, is a very severe, potentially very severe cancer. Again, I'm not trying to scare Barbadians or anyone for that matter, but the survival with what we call muscle-invasive bladder cancer is pretty poor. It's somewhere in the region of 30% at 3 years. So you really want to pick up bladder cancer quite early and treat it quite aggressively in the early stages, so that it doesn't progress to the more serious form of bladder cancer, which is muscle-invasive bladder cancer, where unfortunately it requires some very serious procedures, like what we call a radical cystectomy, which is the complete removal of your bladder, and then having to replace that with some form of substitution, like a ideal conduit or a neobladder. You know, this is quite morbid surgery. So therefore, early recognition, early pickup, early treatment of conditions of the urinary system lead to faster recovery, better functional outcomes, preserving the various parts of your urinary system, and therefore having a significantly better quality of life when you do pick up these things quite early. So that's really the message I wanted to drive home today. When you have recurrent urinary tract infections, vast majority of cases, you can see your GP, they will treat it, they will check your urinary system out, make sure that there's nothing serious going on. And in a lot of cases, they can be readily treated at the primary care level. But in those cases, when there is a problem with the urinary system, when there's obstruction, when there's tumor, when there's functional abnormality, we need to then refer on to the urologist so that we can see those patients early, treat them early, and hopefully have better outcomes.
Indeed, Dr. Rouse, again, thank you so much. It's been a mouthful, but I think we got it. We got it indeed. If it's caught early, it can be treated, but when it becomes recurrent, then there are procedures that can actually help you manage it going forward as well. Thank you as always, Dr. Rouse, and look forward to seeing you again, my twin. Thank you very much, my friend. Take care.
Good morning, Barbados. Good morning, Pierce.
Good morning,
Thank
indeed.
you.
All right, you too. We're going to take a break right here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's August 31st. It's said to be the day that the Marcus Garvey and the officers and members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association determined must be celebrated as a holiday for all African people. And so the United Nations has proclaimed the 31st of August as the International Day for People of African Descent. And Barbados here, Marlon Legault Voice Project was challenged to sing the Universal Ethiopian Anthem. And let's take a look at that performance before we go.
Ethiopia, the land of our fathers, the land where the gods love to be. As storm cloud at night suddenly gathers, our armies come rushing to thee.
We must in the fight be victorious, when swords are thrust outward to gleam. For us will the victory be glorious, when led by the red, black, and green. Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free.
Advance,
advance to meet the foe.
Advance,
advance to meet the foe.
With the might of the red, the black, and the green. With the might of the red, the black, and the green. Ethiopia, the tyrant's falling, who smote thee upon thy knees, and thy children are lustily calling from over the distant seas. Jehovah, the Great One, has heard us, has noted our sighs and our tears. With the spirit of love, he has stirred us to be one through the coming years.
Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free.
Advance,
advance to meet the foe.
Advance,
advance to meet the foe.
With the might of the red,
the black, and the green.
With the might of the red, the black.
That's the Marlon Legault Voice Project. They're singing the Universal Ethiopian Anthem on today, International Day for People of African Descent. There's a lot about which we can be proud as black people. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. My producer today has been Nadia Foster. With her has been my technical director, Ruel Ford, at sound, Christopher Blenman, and at master control, Tamisha Green. I'm Pearson Bowen. For all of them, to each of you, we say good morning. We'll see you tomorrow.